Hello everyone, my name is Zach Dreyer, and I will be discussing my article, The Human Moment at Work, for MBA 500, Mrs. Baylog. Okay, so first off, I want to go over the agenda for this presentation. I will initially be giving an article overview, talking about the article, discussing some of the key points that I took from it, who wrote it, what it's about, things of that nature. Next, I will discuss the relevance of the article and relate it back to the chapter, how this is related to the social person era. Next, I will give some examples from the article. Some real-life people had this human moment at work affect their personal lives, as well as organizations affect them. And lastly, I will wrap it up with a conclusion and summarize everything that we've talked about. The Human Moment at Work is an article from the Harvard Business Review, written by Edward Hallowell. It discusses the importance and relevance of this human moment in the workplace and the importance of it on organizations as well as individuals. Hallowell dives into examples of what exactly the human moment is and why and how it has become so important. Okay, so this human moment is really just any face-to-face interaction amongst people. It could be one-on-one, it could be one to a group, or it could be amongst a group. It doesn't need to be business-related. Oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes it's a casual conversation, fellow employees and colleagues just catching up, talking about their weekend, talking about their personal lives, things of that nature. It's important because people are able to pick up on body language, physical cues, tone of voice, change in inflection. Things of that nature are what really allow people to let their guard down, in a sense, and truly be comfortable and trusting while talking to another person. Over the last few decades, technology has increased tremendously. It has allowed us as businesses and organizations to become more efficient, more productive, but it has also limited or decreased this human moment and how often that occurs. With the abundance of technology, email, voicemail, texting, Twitter, Facebook, that human moment is becoming less and less common. It's becoming more likely for an employee to email a colleague with a question that they have rather than walking down the hallway to ask them face-to-face. Now, as convenient as technology may be, and as effective as organizations have been able to use it so far, there needs to be a common mix between the two that can neutralize the use of technology as well as maintaining that human moment and that human contact, keeping people face-to-face and meeting in person, as well as using technology. Many years ago, any well-run organization would have been based off of measurements, methods, and techniques used. That was just the way of doing business. It was until the social person era shifted that attention from those methods to the people. People started to realize that interactions amongst people are just as important as the methods being used, and human relations were emphasized and stressed in this era. This relates back to that human moment because it focuses on the people, focuses on that personal contact. A long time ago, the only importance was that employees stayed at the assembly line and worked from the minute they clocked in until the minute they clocked out. Now, it is common to see employees interact, talk about their personal lives, professional lives, all of the above during their workday. It is a way of improving and increasing employee satisfaction, as well as making those employees more comfortable, which results in more effective employees. So one great example of a lack of human moment from this article was about a man who had just been reassigned management. He just recently got a new COO. And one day his COO emailed him saying, Most recent information incorrect. Redo. That's all it said. So this man felt a little bit disrespected, wasn't really sure what he had done wrong. So he emailed back asking for a little bit more advice, a little bit more description, asking what exactly his COO was looking for. And he responded with, "I don't have time to get into the details. Can't you figure it out?" So a couple days go by. He was hoping it would die down. He had a in-face meeting with him and tried to confront him. However, when it was confronted, he was very vague and very short. He just assumed that it was a one-time thing and he would get over it. However, the emails continued. They were always very short, very disrespectful, and a little bit degrading. He began to feel like that was his way of getting forced out of the company. He thought they didn't want him anymore. He thought they wanted to fire him. And what is described as toxic worry started to get into his head. Toxic worry is overthinking, and it can be detrimental to an organization. It often occurs when communication is misunderstood or misconstrued. In this particular example, the COO sent a very short, not very wordy email, which resulted in this employee worrying and starting to think that his work wasn't being appreciated and they were not happy with what he had been doing. So, long story short, the employee recognizes that he does not think he will be able to get over this lack of communication with his COO and chose to leave the company. He felt like the lack of communication and the lack of human contact was too much for him, and he didn't feel comfortable there anymore. So these human moments or human connections are often viewed as very important, especially amongst a lot of very good, well-run organizations. They see it as the ability to connect with somebody on a personal level, connecting with their thoughts and emotions. Which is important because employees need to feel comfortable around each other. They need to be comfortable with their colleagues. They need to feel comfortable proposing ideas in meetings or maybe challenging somebody else's idea to further the knowledge base or further the thought process. It's important for people to be comfortable and like each other, be happy with where they're working. It allows people to be more open and honest, which oftentimes results in an increased happiness, an increased sense of self, and an increased sense of recognition. So a great example of an organization putting an emphasis on this human moment and this human contact, from the article, there's a manager that comes up with this idea of Pizza Thursdays. So every afternoon, all the employees would meet and have pizza provided for lunch, and they would just hang out, chit-chat, take an hour out of their day to talk about their personal lives, any plans for the weekend, families, things of that nature. And this results in better organizational and individual performance. It leads to happier employees. Happy employees are better employees. And money is no longer the only incentive. Like I said, that employee satisfaction, that workplace atmosphere, that attitude, that culture, all of those play a role into the development and sustainability of a company. It's important for these employees to recognize that human moment and that human contact. It also allows them to feel like they're working with somebody rather than for somebody, allowing managers and employees to level the playing field a little bit, get to know each other in an instance where maybe they might not get to talk as much during a typical business day. So to wrap it all up, you could say the human moment is really the basis of the social person era. That human moment, that importance of face-to-face contact, that human interaction. It really sets the emphasis on putting the person first, that being the importance. that being the focus. It results in organizations and individuals improving when that human moment is present. Technology has done a great job making businesses more efficient and more productive. However, there needs to be a balance between use of technology and the good old fashioned traditional face to face contact and human interaction.